Hey troops, welcome back. Today we've got an update on Israel-Palestine. The date is Wednesday, 1st of November. So let's get into it, guys. New month, new day. Like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so straight off the top then, we're going to get straight into this area in detail, guys. As always, we've got this map system here, and we're going to go, with events, going from most recent backovers. All right, so as you can see, this is what we're using. So 23 minutes ago, Jordan foreign ministry summoning the Jordanian ambassador to Israel as expressions of Jordan's position rejecting the raging war in Gaza. So that's coming straight out of Jordan, quite next to Amman. 28 minutes ago, we're heading into northern Gaza Strip. Continuous raids by Israeli warplanes and artillery on the areas of Al-Antara and Al-Saltin north of Gaza. Let's just have a look at this area, troops, where they're actually using. So Atara is pretty close to the coastline, all right? But if we look at the area specifically, it's just housing, okay? Residential homes. There's nothing much going on in terms of industry per se. Yes, we have the odd rural patch, possibly a bit of farmland and stuff, but it probably belongs to the locals, all right? These areas are definitely just villages with homes, normal houses, families, schools, mosques. There's a little clothing store here as well, as you can see, guys. Just a regular town. So just bear that in mind when we're talking about this place, okay? Because I think it's important that we've got context. We're not just saying it's continuous raids by Israeli warplanes and artillery. Let's look at the area in detail of where these places are actually being bombarded and understand that these places are heavily residentially dominant, okay? Now, sirens in Tel Aviv, central Israel. Now, the sirens are normally as a result of a potential threat within the area. Yes, we've got the Iron Dome protecting this whole area, okay? But we need to understand one thing. Not every interception is successful, or not every attempt at an interception is successful. So the missiles from Hamas are coming over still, okay? So we need to understand that the threat still exists in Israel, okay? On a global stage, we are hearing, look, ceasefire from Israel with regards to the raids that are going on in Gaza, which I'm all for. I think a ceasefire should happen quick as possible, okay, guys? But we need to understand that the threat from Hamas still exists. The threat with these aerial bombardments and missiles and rocket attacks is still happening on a day-to-day basis, all right? I've been to Tel Aviv. It's a fantastic place. It blows my brains that an area is such as well developed as this, and it's such a free area as well, okay? We went around here and had a fantastic time when I was in the military, and it just blows my brains that an area as such would be under missile threat on a day-to-day basis. But that's what's happening in Tel Aviv. We can see here a map displaying the areas specifically that the sirens have been going off, stating to us that this is the areas which have been under threat, okay? So 35 minutes ago, Israeli artillery shelling targets the outskirts of towns of Ait al-Shab and Ramia. So if we want to have a look at where these areas actually are, it looks this is the area in detail, troops, okay? I think that's the border of Lebanon, I believe. So is that the border of Lebanon? I think it is, guys. Forgive me, this map is slightly different to the other one I've used. Yes, it is. So this whole area in detail again. Yes, the UN 2000 line. It's the shelling targets on the outskirts of these areas is continuing. Israel is pumping the shells over the border due to the threat and the nature of what's going on there. You know, Lebanon have been responding, but just to give a bit of context, some people are saying that this border isn't a dangerous border. Now, I explained in a short video the other day that this is one of the most dangerous borders on the planet right now. Why? Well, let's look at it logically. Look at all these settlements to the south of that UN 2000 blue line. All right, you've got loads of settlements where people are living. okay, scattered all the way across the entirety of this border, all right, heavily dominant residentially. Now, we know that it's dominant with a good population of people there because Israel have been evacuating these areas as a matter of urgency, okay, over the past week or so. This whole area has been evacuated for people that wish to get the hell out of there. Why? Because of the threats across this border. So I don't know where you guys live, some of you who watch these videos, but there's one thing I know. The borders of where I am from England to Wales, or just a few miles up the road, England to Scotland, that's a safe border. We haven't got any of this going on. So anyone that says this border isn't safe really needs to either have a look at where they live right now and get the hell out of there if they class this border as safe, or just reevaluate what they're actually talking about. This is a very, very dangerous border indeed. Now, an alarm was triggered in Stuttgart in the Western Galilee area. Galilee's a beautiful place as well. I loved Galilee. So these alarms are triggered to the south of Lebanon, stating that there's obviously an imminent potential of an attack, okay? An hour ago, we're going back into Gaza. Artillery strike is in the Sheikh Zayed northern Gaza area. As you can see, these houses, buildings, potentially, office places and flats and things like that. And these areas have been targeted. If we want to look specifically at this building to the left, we can see that as a rocket striked near to the top of that building there, taking out pretty much whatever's inside that if it hasn't already been evacuated. Okay, troops. So quite devastating there. An hour ago, we've got a Twitter source here. It needs to be translated. A number of individual mines exploding in the Beer Shabir area of the outskirts of this town due to the outbreak of fire in the area as a result of enemy lighting shells falling, causing major fires. So all of these, shells that have been dropping and stuff is caused this. So the mines within these areas to go off. Okay. Ismail Hanay says the scenario was presented to mediators, including a prisoner exchange. So where is this actually? This looks like one of the... I was going to say it's Qatar. He also says... calls on the United States to stop supporting the Israeli military. Now, that's a very interesting point, guys. I know the United States will not stop supporting Israel, so that's not something... I don't think that's a plausible thing to say. It's just not going to happen, okay? The United States will support Israel throughout the entirety of this, whether it's good, bad, and indifferent. I just don't see the support stopping, guys, okay? We can get into that. Well, let's get into it now, actually. Let's get into this now. So we've got something here. Now, I've been doing a little bit of research into this. A little bit of research. You've got the Gulf of Suez here, all right? Where, ships and stuff, trade ships can pass. It generates, I'm pretty sure it generates billions, okay? An awful lot of trade passes this area. And I believe that goes straight to Egypt. If anyone's happy to correct me on that, I'm happy to be corrected, guys. But that money goes there. We got the Suez Canal, where effectively in most parts of this, if not all of it, only one ship can go past. So although it generates a lot of money, it's not very effective, okay? It's not very efficient. This area could have been, if you could widen this area, it would be a lot more effective. More passing trade, more ships going through this port is more money at the end of the day. But the area that we're talking about is just sand area. There's not that much rocky outcrops, not that much mountainous terrain, albeit on the left-hand side there is and the right-hand side there is. This area was reasonably easy to cut out, okay? Now, that money goes to this area. Now, let's have a look at Israel, okay? Look at Israel. There is talks about one of these areas being extended in a similar fashion as the Suez Canal, all right? So, a canal passing through this area. But if you look at the trajectory of that, all right? Look at the trajectory of this. Let's get a one of these. There to there. The trajectory is pretty much, whether you like it, you go left or right straight away. It's pretty much going through these areas here. So the area in detail is a little bit suspicious of me because you've got Gaza going on there, you've got Jerusalem. If there was to be anything of such built in this area, which would be a monumental engineering feat, I can bet you bottom dollar Israel won't want it to go through their land, okay? The obvious place would be to go somewhere around Gaza. Now, that's not even conspiratory. I'm just putting two and two together. I'm just looking at this. I've been doing a bit of research and the want and the need for another canal of such so they can get all of the trade passing through that port. That port trade equals an awful lot of money. It makes sense why America's involved in, the support. I'm not saying this is the whole reason why this is happening. Certainly not. Please do not mistake that for what I'm saying. But whilst we're opening up the conversation, what do you reckon about that? What do you think about that? Let me know in the chat, troops. Anyway, let's get back to business. About an hour ago, Israeli army in the Al-Malikia site targeted a disabled vehicle on the outskirts of the town of Aitaran, while the Al-Assi site targeted a house on the outskirts of Mais al-Jabba. So, I mean, that's pretty much just a broken bit of construction kit there, isn't it? Effectively. 2 hours ago, the IDF, dozens of targets of the terrorist organizations Hamas were destroyed in IDF attacks, including observation posts, anti-tank squads and launchers, vessels and military outposts. In addition, militants were killed, infiltrations into Israeli territory were prevented, and terrorist incidents were thwarted within this area. So we've got three main areas that this whole incursion have taken place from. One, the sea, all right? Various different spots, but I believe it's the north areas. Second point is this bit here, all right, the northeasterly point of Gaza, and this part here, all right, into the middle part of Gaza, or just past the middle part, more rightward, okay? Three areas that they've IDF have been, utilizing and using for point of entry into Gaza. Let's have a look at this. I think we've got a bit of footage here.
אני אשמח שה-76 שמשו לפגיעה בקו החוף מציר זריף עד ציר ברושור, האם קיבלת?
Oh, okay. Whoa, that's big. That's a lot of destruction right there, troops. That's a lot of destruction. So aerial footage there. Yeah, heavily bombarding these areas, which has prohibited the movement of Hamas effectively, guys, okay? Now, 2 hours ago, simultaneously with the expansion on the ground operations of the ground forces, a multi-armed combined effort is taking place together with the Navy and Air Force in order to neutralize these ground attacks and significantly damage the terrorist organization Hamas here, okay, in the round. But if you look at that, directly opposite was... roughly directly opposite. This is the main area of operations, guys, where they're kind of fighting within, because you've got a point of entry here, and obviously you're getting supported almost like a triangle there of where they're fighting. I don't want to share it, so how do I get rid of that? There we go. Back in. Let's see if we've got any footage on this, actually. So as you can see, guys, border there. I've been to these borders before. It's quite a menacing thing to see when you see an area literally sectioned off like this, okay? I've been in and around these areas to see this kind of fighting taking place literally over the border. The fact that these are firing small arms and machine gun fire and heavy machine gun fire from these tanks within a very close proximity tells me that they've got, intelligence to state that these guys have been positively identified within this area. So they're not shooting at targets here. They're shooting at literally people, and they're getting rid of the bad guys. full-on military operation, this, guys. Make no mistake about it. Look at that house. Absolutely obliterated, okay? And this isn't off, you know, this is recently. Look at it. We've got, that's at least 50 cal, all right? You know, your regular weapon systems don't do that. That's at least 50 cal right there. The fact that these walls have been destroyed, that means these areas have been taken out possibly with some form of explosive, a grenade, semtex, you name it, to be able to get into that land quickly. So, you know, an assault engineer type will have blasted through there, followed by troops on the ground getting through. You can see the windows on the right-hand side here have been pretty much blown off. Why? Well, that's a point of entry as well. You're not just necessarily going to go through the dome, okay? Operations as such like this, you got to think outside the box, and you got to tackle these places from different angles. So this house has been absolutely destroyed. Nothing left of this. Absolutely nothing left. And still being bombarded. So these areas look pretty dangerous, look pretty hostile, but they will still be used, troops. Make no mistake about it. Terrorists will harbour weapon systems and sections and troops of men within these areas to be able to react. Don't think that these areas still won't be occupied, because they potentially will. Okay, so some decent footage at the moment. Here's some still shots for you guys to have a look at. There we have it. 2 hours ago, the first batch of foreigners arriving from Gaza, arrive on the Egyptian side. First batch of foreigners. So whether or not that, well, that is what I'm going to take it as. That could be Americans, that could be British citizens, that could be Europeans, whoever. But they've pretty much arrived from Gaza on the Egyptian side. So safety for them is, yeah, they're on the safe side of the border now. Hezbollah targeting Israeli positions in Al-Malakia and Al-Bayad opposite Aitarun and Blidia. This is here. Okay. Bombarding the outskirts of this area. Sea of Galilee. Such a beautiful place. I can't believe this is happening. Honest to God, guys. Israeli army leaflets dropped in Khan Yunis telling residents to evacuate south. Let's have a look at this letter. So that's what they're being sent. They've got a phone number there, WhatsApp groups, telegrams, and signals. They're giving them plenty of opportunities to be able to respond. Is it good enough, though, troops? Well, I don't know what good enough is. What would be good enough is this war didn't happen. That's not the case. It is happening. This is reality. So this is better than nothing, I will say. This is certainly better than nothing. There's the leaflet. Someone wants a quick snapshot of that and translate it for me. That would be great. Drop it in the comments, troops. Okay. The Iranian Foreign Ministry in Turkey. If the Israeli attacks on Gaza continue, the consequences will be severe. So, threats again from the Iranian Foreign Ministry in Turkey. Threats will be severe. We've already seen the fracases, and that's a nice way of putting it, occurring between Iran and America, okay, with regards the the attacking of each other on a very small level at this moment in time. That could escalate. It is escalating. It has escalated since the start of this war. So, yeah, I see the whole Middle East in some way, shape or form gradually getting involved in this in some way, shape or form, albeit slowly but surely. At this moment in time, you can bet your bottom dollar the Middle East are not happy with what's happening over here. So, does that drag the Middle East into a greater war with America in support of Israel? And by default, America and Britain? I think it possibly does, you know. We might not see it in the next few months, but it's definitely escalating things, especially with the fact that Ukraine is happening and China is lurking, guys, in the background, watching all of this happen, because I think they're waiting to pounce when America is depleted so they can take a little certain island, guys, okay? We all know which one that is. Now, 3 hours ago, Borrell, we are horrified by the large number of victims as a result of the Israeli bombing in Jabalia. Turkey Foreign Minister, you cannot use a double standard for Ukraine and Palestine. If Israeli attacks don't stop, the war will expand. We seek cooperation with the European Union, but they are against a ceasefire. They stand by Israel and the United States and want the continuation of the Israeli attacks. You know, I kind of partially agree with that statement, okay? It certainly seems that way. Now, airstrike west of Jabalia, northern Gaza. Airstrikes happening all over this place. Just have a look at this map, guys. Look, all over these blue annotations are airstrikes or artillery strikes of some sort. Absolute obliteration all over here. This is a photograph annotating the absolute carnage on the ground, okay, troops? Obviously, you can see the rubbish there. People aren't able to get the rubbish collected within these areas anymore. That big smoke cloud in the sky there isn't an actual weather cloud. It's a cloud from, you know, a massive strike on the area, which is devastating. People shocked, walking about the business, cars destroyed almost, you know. These areas are in absolute turmoil by these strikes. Now, the death of Palestinians. Many wounded and massive destruction following the destruction of a residential neighborhood in the Al-Fallujah area in the Jabalia camp. Okay, these areas here. Aerial footage, guys, of what's going on the ground. These areas are being decimated. One thing seen as a bird's eye view. Let's have a look at what that means on the ground. This is what it looks like, okay? We can see people's furniture within these buildings. People's clothes absolutely destroyed, all right? This was a living room of some sort. Stairwells up to bedrooms. You know, it's just terrible. Absolute destruction. Hideous. Wow. Yeah, this is hard. This is hard to look at. I'm not going to lie. Hamas announced that its members clashed with an Israeli army force in Beit Hanun in Gaza. So we've had clashes in and around this area here, troops, okay? This 1950s armistice agreement line in slight shade of blue annotates an area where the Israeli soldiers and military are using as a bit of a launch pad area to be able to get in. Why? Well, if you look at outside the lines, you've got big open spaces where they can form collectively as troops to be able to push on through if need be. That's one of my thought patterns of it anyway. That's why you're seeing clashes happen a lot around the Beit Hanun area. Now, a spokesperson for the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights said, "We are concerned about the casualties of civilians in Gaza. It's not enough to be concerned. We need action. We need action to stop this and stop the killing on both sides." The Jordanian king and the president of the United Arab Emirates stressed the necessity of international action to stop the escalation and protect civilians. It needs to happen. Okay. Now, there's been an announcement by the UNRWA that 40 facilities of our institutions were subject to Israeli bombings. Nothing coming out there. But we're talking about this. Let's talk about the planes that dropped the leaflets in the skies of Khan Yunis. We've just seen a letter that one of the residences had. I believe there's a video of some sort that we can watch. These are all the leaflets, I think. That is not a swarm of bees. Leaflets. Kids in the background. The thing is, troops, what I don't really understand with this, right, is, yes, I think it's a necessity to drop those leaflets, okay? But one thing's for sure, is it enough to say get out? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? That's the big truth of that, right? Iranian Foreign Minister, Israel is committing war crimes in Gaza. What do you think about that? Do you agree or disagree with that? Palestinian TV announced here that the Turkish Friendship Hospital for Cancer Patients in Gaza is out of service. An entire hospital, troops. This here, the size of it, gone. Not in action anymore. Incapable of operating. How many people, cancer patients here, are going to die as a result of this war? Needlessly. Zero input to the war. Director of Hospitals in Gaza, the fuel consumption energy in hospitals has become in serious danger. Another hospital here, unable to work effectively. Iran's Ali Khamenei says Israel would be paralyzed within days without the US support and helps Iran's leaders without the US support and help. It says the Zionist government will definitely be paralyzed within a few days. I don't think it would be paralyzed within a few days without United States support. Granted, not that much longer, but not a few days. Violent clashes take place within the borders of Gaza City. As we've seen here, violent clashes all around these areas, troops, okay? Predominantly artillery and air raids. Hamas official Ghazi Hamad says, we will repeat October 7th attack time and again until Israel is annihilated. We are victims. Everything we do is justified. No, wrong, okay? You can't justify the killing of innocent people in Israel. You can't do that. Nor can the killing of innocent people in Gaza be justified. This is the problem. Hamas needs to be wiped out. But in doing so, they're putting, in doing so, they know what's going on, all right? They know how to work this. They're probing Israel to do things, and Israel's responding, very severely, and innocents are getting killed. What Hamas are doing is actually putting their own at risk, and they know they are. And Hamas are responsible for the Palestinians' deaths as well as Israel. I hold them both accountable, guys.
إسرائيل دولة لا مقام لها على أرضنا. إحنا الدولة لابد أن نزيلها، لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك احنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوة، إنه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها، وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه احنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات أن نقاتل نعم. ونحارب. لكن كما قلت لك بدنا ندفع ثمن. نعم احنا مستعدين. معلش بدي أقول لك بشكل واضح، احنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء.
Right, I can't listen to any more of that. I don't agree with any of that. Ghazi Hamad, Hamas Political Bureau, I don't believe anything that he says to be good. Head of Israeli military intelligence, we failed greatly and failed to warn about the location of the war. The director of hospitals in Gaza told Al Jazeera Al-Shifa Hospital will stop working within hours due to a severe fuel shortage. To the right of that, we've just read that. Okay, guys. But there we go, troops. We're about 26 minutes in. Again, I want to keep these for about 20 minutes long. Depending on the view count and stuff like that, we'll keep on churning these videos out in support of the conflict, okay? I'm in support of the peace of the conflict, rather. But, yeah, if you like these types of videos, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to drop a comment for the algorithm and share these videos far and wide, it would really, really help me out, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, troops.